Good morning, everybody. I'm Rick Fulbaum with Atlanta News First. Thanks so much for joining us here at 10 a.m. As we stream some headlines for you, we're going to get a weather forecast coming up in a minute from my colleague, First Alert meteorologist Rodney Harris. And the weather really is the big story here today. We want to start with that because we've got a couple of First Alert weather days that are on the calendar for this coming weekend. And there is the possibility of severe weather coming our way Saturday night into Sunday morning. And so the talk today is about preparing for that weather. Of course, in Atlanta, we know how lucky we are to live among such beautiful trees. Our city in a forest here that we live in is a special treat. But with those trees actually comes a lot of concern, especially when it comes to severe weather. And we've seen this time and again, and I've seen this many times since moving to Atlanta and working in the news business here, is that the number of trees that have come down, that continuously come down in times of severe weather, and the damage that they do to homes, to cars, to people, is just something. It's not specific to Atlanta, but it seems to happen more here than in other places around the country. And so we want to talk a little bit about some ways that we can prepare for this so that hopefully there aren't any major issues come this weekend. As we take a look at some of the damage from past storms, we sent our reporter Don Shipman out to talk to some arborists about things that can be done now ahead of time to avoid scenes like this. And one of the things that is most important is tree trimming. You get these trees that have not really been tended to for a long time, and they are more susceptible to coming down. And they can be uprooted. The rain saturates the ground. The wind kicks in, as it does with severe weather, and these trees can come down and cause some very expensive damage. So it may be expensive to get your trees trimmed, maybe a couple $100 or more, depending on the size of the tree. But think about the expense of a tree coming down and actually crashing on your home or your car, or worst case scenario, on someone you love. And so Don's story today all about that. Again, take care of your trees. Take a look at the trees on your property and make sure that they're all set as we approach this possibly severe weather coming up this weekend. And Rodney's going to be joining us in just a minute here. He'll give you all the details about that. I also want to talk about the Secretary of Agriculture, who is coming to Atlanta today. This is Brooke Rollins. She's going to be meeting with agricultural leaders here at the state capitol in Atlanta this morning. And of course, her trip comes as the White House is introducing tariffs on all kinds of things: aluminum, steel, from Mexico, China, Canada, and beyond. We've seen retaliatory tariffs from some of these countries that have led to price increases. And of course, we've been hearing all about the price of eggs, which are actually down over the last couple of days, but they have been creeping upward and led to surcharges at places like Waffle House and other restaurants that serve eggs. And so Secretary Rollins coming to Atlanta to talk to farmers and agricultural leaders about ways the administration is prepared to help out. Another story that we're following today has to do with Girl Scout cookies, believe it or not, and the way that Girl Scout cookies, this is a lawsuit that says that Girl Scout cookies contain, get this, heavy metals, pesticides, and other toxins. This is a woman in New York who's filed a lawsuit in federal court this week, and she claims that 100% of the cookies that her organization tested contained toxins. Apparently, this is a small sample size for her study. It is not peer-reviewed or published in any kind of an official scientific journal here, but this lawsuit is seeking $5 million in damages for people who bought the cookies across the U.S. The Girl Scout organization, we should say, they're defending the cookies. I'd like to defend them as well, especially Thin Mints. But the Girl Scout Girl Scout organization is saying that the cookies are safe and that they're manufactured in line with all food safety regulations. And finally, when it comes to headlines, we want to honor and say happy birthday to an Atlanta icon, Ambassador Andrew Young, who of course has been a part of the fabric of the city of Atlanta for many, many years. He was a former mayor here. He, of course, went on, a former Congress member here, went on to serve as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, the first black man ever to be appointed to that position when Jimmy Carter appointed him back during his presidency. Andrew Young was there when Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis, and he continues to be a voice that is respected and valued and treasured here in the city and around the country. Andrew Young celebrating his 93rd birthday, and we certainly wish him a very happy birthday. When I came to Atlanta to work as a journalist, one of the first calls I made was to Ambassador Young's office requesting an interview and a sit down with him. He really was sort of, on a list of people you want to talk to if you're a journalist here in Atlanta. He was definitely among the top 5 people who I reached out to. He could not have been more gracious with his time, sitting and talking to me and filling me in, answering all of my questions. He gave me a signed copy of one of his books, along with a copy of a documentary about Atlanta that he made, and so I will always be grateful to him for that and thankful. And so on this day, the 12th of March, we wish Ambassador Andrew Young a happy 93rd birthday. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the weather, and for that I'm going to hand things over to my colleague who is right here with that news.
Hey, Rick, I hope you were off to a good start to your day, buddy. So we are tracking the potential, really not even the potential. I mean, we're going to see showers and storms over the weekends. Just a heads up to you. If you are in all of North Georgia, we're looking at that potential for showers and storms. What I want to do is, first of all, put myself up on your screen. There we go, so you can see me. Hey, everybody. So that map that you see on the right-hand side of your screen, that's our actual risk that we are looking at here. This is what you see in yellow. That is what we call a level 2 risk. And what you see in orange, that is a level 3 risk. We see level 2 risk a lot here in North Georgia. It's a typical summer, basically. But that level 3 risk in orange is fairly rare. We see that too, we just don't see it that often. So that is why we are concerned, because the risk of severe weather has increased here throughout the course of the week. So I want to start by talking about the timing, and to do that, I'm going to take this full so you can get a better idea of what's happening here. That's our latest forecast model. Right now, just so you guys know, we have 2 types of models that we use. We have our long-range models where the resolution isn't quite as high, which is what you're looking at now. And then we have our more shorter range models, our high-resolution models. They'll start to come in by Thursday for sure. So we'll be able to give you a lot more detail on the timing and exactly where these storms will be as that high-resolution data comes in. Right now, I'm still using my long-range models. But here's an idea. We are seeing showers and storms moving in as early as Saturday morning. Okay, continuing through Saturday afternoon. So that's important as well. We basically have 2 zones of storms that we're expecting over the weekend. This is the first zone, Saturday morning going into the afternoon. Saturday afternoon, some of those storms could be severe. Okay, and then as you can see, there's a bit of a break perhaps Saturday evening. So I don't think Saturday is going to be a day where you're going to see rain and storms all day long, but we're going to have the rain and storms move in. Maybe a bit of a break where the coverage isn't as high. And then when a cold front moves in early Sunday, that's round 2. And that's coming in very early on Sunday morning, like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, while most of us are asleep. That's what's concerning us. And we've done this a lot here this year. We've had to deal with these overnight events. This will be an overnight event. So think of it that way. 2 different sort of zones. The first zone is Saturday morning going into the afternoon. The second zone is very early Sunday morning, basically during the overnight hours while you're asleep. Looks like that'll stick around for those of you who have to get to church super early on Sunday morning, like 7 a.m. And it does look like after lunch on Saturday, those showers and storms will move out. So because there are 2 different zones, I want to break it down by 2 different threats. I'm not going to show you the threats for the entire event. Now I've broken these down to cover each zone. So Saturday, particularly Saturday afternoon and evening, street flooding will be possible. Wind damage will be possible. Those are the 2 things we see the most. It doesn't take much to get street flooding here in Metro Atlanta, as you know. And then we have a lot of trees, so wind damage is fairly normal too. So those 2 things we see a lot of. Unfortunately, that'll be possible. What we haven't seen a lot of so far this year is hail, but hail will actually be possible Saturday afternoon and evening, and that's because some of these storms will be very spring-like in nature, where they'll be discrete, and those are the storms that could produce hail. Those are the storms that could also produce the stronger tornadoes. So that will be something we're going to be watching Saturday afternoon and evening. Again, once we get our high-resolution models in, we'll have a better idea of what these threats will be, but all modes will be possible Saturday afternoon and evening. So overnight Sunday, going into early Sunday morning, we're going to drop the hail threat because at this point we're just looking at a line of storms that'll be moving in Sunday morning, so we're probably not going to see any hail with that. But street flooding, again, damaging winds again. In fact, the damaging wind threat will be at its highest for the storms early on Sunday morning. And then by the time we get that line moving in, we can also, at least we can't rule out an isolated tornado or two. So those are your storm threats. All storm threats are going to be possible Saturday afternoon and evening for that first round. And then for the second round, for the line that's moving in early Sunday, strong winds, street flooding, or bet, and isolated tornadoes will be possible with that. So that's our weekend. I do think it's important to note that we have these first alerts for both Saturday and Sunday. If you're trying to make plans over the weekend, Saturday not the best day to do that, but Sunday you'll be fine because even though early Sunday morning we do expect it to be rough, by noon Sunday it'll be dry. So if you need to get out Sunday afternoon, you'll be in good shape. You'll be just fine to do that. Before we get to the upcoming weekend, great weather today. We should hit 80 for the first time today in Atlanta. Complete sunshine. The highest temperature we've hit so far this year was 79 back in late February. So today will be the warmest day of the year. Thursday, it won't be quite as warm because of the clouds that are going to increase, only up to 73 Thursday afternoon. And we do have a 40% chance of a few showers or storms Thursday evening, particularly. We're watching a wave that's going to come out of Alabama on Thursday. Most of our models are showing that wave kind of weakening and breaking up as it moves in. We're going to have to watch that carefully. But that would be Thursday evening. And the best chance of rain will be west and southwest of Atlanta Thursday evening. Friday should be dry with a high of 74. And then we have those first alerts for Saturday and Sunday. Next Monday and Tuesday are also looking really good. With a lot of sunshine, 60s on Monday and 70s on Tuesday. So let's look at your forecast. Our entire First Alert weather team will be keeping you up to date on that threat for severe weather over the weekend. Every time we get a model run, we dive into that data immediately. And so we will keep you up to date on that. First Alert meteorologist Courtney Jacobazi will have an update for you. That is on Atlanta News First at noon. You can always get your updated forecast in our First Alert weather app. We hope you guys have a great Wednesday. We hope you enjoy the sunshine out there later on today. And until next time, we'll see you soon.